Welcome to this postgame media edition of Talking Hoosier Baseball. Today is March 8th, 2023. The Indiana Hoosiers tonight played Purdue-Fort Wayne, defeated Purdue-Fort Wayne by a score of 15-1. After the game, the media spoke with both head coach Jeff Mercer and center fielder Bobby Whalen.
Coach, you had multiple, I think at least 4 situations today where you either had a walk or a hit by pitch, then somebody, it was a different one of you guys each time, went out and talked to the pitcher, and things went really well afterwards.
Yeah, we just have to have an attitude of aggressiveness, and we have to attack. And obviously tonight we got some different guys in there, and some guys either haven't thrown as much or was their first time out. And I think there's being able to attack the strike zone is an attitude and a mentality and aggressiveness. And Coach Glant's done a great job of instilling that. Sometimes we need a gentle reminder that that's the expectation. And we're not here to mess around. We're not here to flip balls, 6 inches off either way. We're here to get after somebody's tail. And sometimes you just need somebody to come out and remind you of that. And the guys done a good job. They've been trained well. And so oftentimes once I get told that's the expectation and we're going to do that, or there's somebody else in the bullpen right now. I'm not messing around. I'm not waiting for 3 or 4 batters to get your feet wet. We're going to attack the strike zone. We're going to get somebody else in the ball game. And then those guys did a good job. To all their credit, they did a really good job. And they're all talented. They're all good. They're all prepared. And we're going to go out and we're going to throw strikes, or somebody else is going to get the ball game.
Coach, offensively, you guys had a lot of hard-hit balls. What was the approach coming to this game?
Really kind of the same as it is typically, where you're just trying to make a guy a 2-pitch guy, and if he's a 2-pitch guy, try to make him a 1-pitch guy. We haven't done an awesome job of it, in all honesty, at times, and we've faced some really good pitching, so I played enough to know that that's not always an easy thing to do. But we have to eliminate the early weak contact. We have to eliminate chase. You have to force guys in the strike zone, and if you can make guys a 1 or 2-pitch guy, it just makes it so much easier for you to make good decisions. When you make early decisions, when you make weak contact, you allow guys to be a 3 or a 4-pitch guy, and you just can't have success. The human mind the brain can't work that quickly where you're trying to decipher 4 different pitches in every count. So we did a good job of narrowing down and forcing those guys to be 1 or 2-pitch guys. And when you're like that, you're able to really narrow your contact zone. How many we cover zones, so how many balls wide do we cover in that count? When you can selectively have an at-bat in those situations, hard contact then follows. If I'm covering 7 balls wide and I'm on 4 pitches, it's just really difficult to consistently hit the ball hard. So they did a good job. They ran some quality arms out of the pen. There's 4 or 5 guys that were 88 to 90 with an off-speed pitch. So did a good job of forcing them into the strike zone. And when they got in the zone, we hit the ball hard, especially for a day where the wind's blowing in from right, and you're going to have to hit a lot of balls hard to score runs.
Did you see any key differences in guys' approach at the plate from over the weekend?
Well, I would say as much as anything, getting back in here, so we were able to come back in and practice those guys did a lot of work on Monday on their own, but we ran a long day yesterday practice. We were here for 3 or 4 hours yesterday, and then those guys were able to come in and do their early work for a couple hours. So essentially we practiced a full day yesterday, practiced a full day today, and then we watched all the video. I like running it kind of like a football, where you go back and just watch the film. And we sat down yesterday, and you've got 10 or 11 games here, a body of work, and you're able to watch the film. And we have to be accountable for what we do in the game. And so when I watch the film and I see it in real time, is this our approach? Is this our plan? Is this what we've trained to do? Yes or no? And if it's not, then what do we have to do to adjust? And each year after the second or third weekend, we kind of have that same meeting, and now you have a good body of work. And again, I think it's important to be accountable, as coaches are accountable for the product on the field. Players have to be accountable for the decisions that we make on the field as well. And watching that, I think, really helps, and then being accountable to their work. The kid on Friday from East Carolina that's an elite arm, right? That's a first, second round pick. He'll pitch in the big leagues. He's really good. But we've got to be able to recover and then have good at-bats the rest of the weekend. There's no place for hurt feelings. There's no place for, I kind of put my tail between my legs and don't compete the rest of the weekend or the rest of the at-bats. You have to pick back up. And that's a really good lesson to learn early in the season. And I thought you could see that kind of carry forward today a little bit, where, an 88-mile-an-hour fastball on the plate is the same regardless of who's throwing it. It's not going to have elite metrics or elite properties at that velocity. It's very rare for it to happen. So, you got to get a guy on the plate, and when you get an 88 mile-an-hour fastball on the plate, you win the at bat. You're on or out, but you hit the ball hard somewhere. We can't be in between. We can't be guessing pitches and guessing counts, and we've done that a little bit. It's not shocking. It happens to most offenses early, and so we just have to live and grow through that. And so today was just a more articulate day. You get a fastball on the plate in a good count in the zone you want, and you hit it hard. You're on or you're out, but we hit the ball hard somewhere. When we're in between timing and we allow the at bat to drag out, now we foul that pitch off, and now we're in a 2-2 count, so the bat being over with. And obviously, it's a higher percentage of an off-speed pitch or a mixed pitch, or a guy can hammer a fastball in, and you have weak contact. We just did too much of that this past weekend, being in between timing, and I think a little bit of it is like your ego's hurt a little bit when you get your butt kicked, but there's just no room for it. You got to be tough enough to get back up and have thick skin and get right back on the horse. So I thought they did a really good job of that today.
How important was it for your offense to get off to a large enough lead to where you didn't need to use some of your stronger back-end relievers with 4 more games in the next 4 days?
It was huge. It was huge. And, offensively, you have a responsibility to your teammates. One, because I talked to the guys today before the games. If you want to go win a conference tournament, you're going to have to win 4 or 5 games in a 4 or 5 day span. If you want to win a regional, you're going to have to win multiple games in a day span like that. So to look at it as a conference tournament setup, and are we going to be able to attack early enough and put runs on the board early enough to allow us to get guys in that deserve opportunity to get in, and secondarily to be able to get arms in the game that we need to get in the ball game. And those guys did a really good job. They attacked, they took advantage of opportunities, and we stung some fastballs over the plate. So that really was good. And it was good to get some of those young freshman arms in there. And they deserve an opportunity to be in those games and to improve. So it was a big deal. I thought we did a really nice job with it.
We'll take 2 more.
It's only Wednesday, taking it one day at a time, but do you have any idea what the rotation will be for the next 4 days?
We're going to start Reisdorf tomorrow, and then probably similar as to what we've been, probably Seiler, Senard, Seti, but it's not set for sure, especially with the weather where it can change things a little bit. So I want to get those guys back out there. I'd like to see Reisdorf in a starting role. He's got 2 fastballs, the sinker and the 4-seamer, good changeup that plays off his sinker, and then a really nice slider. So he looks like a starter profile kind of guy. I'd like to get him in that role and see how he does with it. But a guy like Evan Weideker could also potentially be a starter. He's done a really nice job. 2 breaking balls, really good fastball metrically. And so there's a couple guys I'd like to see in that. I thought it was good to get Bothwell back in there today as a starter, getting that starter in his belt. His 4th inning was his best inning, where he just kind of went for it. Just go for it, man. Let's be 90-92. Let's fill it up. Let's throw your changeup. His changeup was really good tonight. That was a focal point. He landed multiple breaking balls, so we just got to get him up. Got to get him on the horse and keep going. And it was good to see him. But we'll probably stay similar. But I do hold the right to change my mind as we kind of get going here if the weather looks like it's going to play a little bit differently.
Phillip got 4 hits today.
Yeah.
He also got 4 hits the day you guys faced your tough arm against ECU.
Yeah.
What is he doing right? What is working for him right now?
Well, Phillip does a great job of a couple things. He's always on time for a fastball. And I say that all the time, and the guys probably roll their eyes because they hear me say it all the time. But when you're always on time for a fastball and you force somebody's off-speed pitches into the zone and you're willing to use the middle of the field, the plate gets really small. And that's what he's done an incredible job of. He's worked really hard on his body. He's worked hard on his swing. So he knows he's capable of covering the plate from a mechanical standpoint. And so when he's always on time for a fastball, it's easy for him to recognize spin. It's easy for him to stay over the plate, hit the ball the other way. It's hard to get in on him because he can really rotate. And so he can live out over the plate, and he's willing to hit the ball the other way. So it really is the kind of the basic concepts of what we preach offensively, what's allowed offensive success for 100 years. He's just doing it at a higher level than anyone else. And we're all capable of doing that. But he does a great job of setting the tone with it. And when he's right, there's nobody better, and he's right now. So he's been excellent.
Great. Step forward for you, Bobby. Right there. Appreciate it.
Bobby, you have you've actually been kind of slotted into the more towards the top of the order with your performance, right there with basically top hitters in the team, and been quite productive. What's going well for you right now?
Like Mercer said, I'm just trying to be on fastball timing, recognize spin, and just flush that bat before if it wasn't well. And yeah, I mean, it's just what I've been doing, staying in the middle of the field and trying to work at bats as long as I can, make the pitcher throw as many pitches as he can. Yeah.
It's nice to speak with you again. Earlier in the season, Mercer was putting you in sort of the bottom third. Did you guys have any conversations about maybe if that was ever going to be a permanent spot, or if you would eventually move up, or what were sort of the conversations like?
I mean, we have 12 really good hitters, so 7-hole, 9-hole, 4-hole, anyone could be in any of those spots. So I saw myself 7th and was excited to hit behind the people that I was hitting behind and hit in front of the people that I was hitting in front of. So no, there was no discussion needed. I mean, yeah, it's just whatever's best for the team, I'll do that.
Your teammate in front of you in the lineup, last year 4 for 4. What does that kind of do for your approach at the plate?
Makes my job a lot simpler. He always gives me a job to do. It's never like I just need to get on base. It's always move him over, score him, or let him steal. I mean, yeah, he makes my job a heck of a lot easier when he's on base every single time I get up there. Yeah.
Anything else?
You guys had a big road trip, a big stretch of road games. How does it feel to be back at home these next couple of weeks?
It feels really good. We were in some crazy environments. We saw some really good teams, and now we're ready to go at home for a little bit before we start Big Ten play. And yeah, that made us strong and ready to be at home.
Anything else?
You got a chance to play with Devin Taylor out in the outfield today. That was the first time we've seen him out in the outfield. What are your thoughts on his performance?
He's a really good outfielder. He's been in the outfield every practice, and yeah, he's just really fundamentally sound and makes every routine play look routine. And yeah, he just does a really good job.
You had a 2 RBI hit, and then Hunter right after you also has a 2 RBI hit. Just what was sort of that sequence like? It seemed pretty fast.
Yeah, it's good. We struggled a little bit as an offense this week, so that second inning was really big for us. Just got us back feeling the way that we're supposed to feel, and Phil got on, I hit, and then Hunter hits. Yeah, it's just a really good feeling for everyone in the dugout and everyone on the field.
That concludes this media edition of Talking Hoosier Baseball. The Indiana Hoosiers are back in action Thursday at 2 p.m., opening up the series with Bellarmine. See you at the BART.